Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story had an Amber Alert attached to it because they were trying to find a missing 13-year-old girl. And unfortunately, it comes to a very, very tragic end because they ended up finding this baby girl. I call her baby girl because my daughter, she's 13, same age as this little girl. It's really heartbreaking, so this really, really touches home for me. But more than anything, let me show y'all the faces of the people who did this to this little girl. These two individuals right here, Cruella Sr. and Cruella Jr. Boy, only the devil could love these two faces right here. These are some rough looking women, boy. They look like they came out of the Civil War or something. Just bad face looking. My goodness. Looking like they just climbed out of a boxing ring after about 14 rounds with the heavyweight champion. Lord have mercy. There's a reason why I'm talking about their looks. I could actually attach that to this story and why this ended up happening to this little girl. So I want y'all to tune your ears in for how I correlate those two things, okay? The Alachua County Sheriff's Office has arrested and charged not one, but two family members. Two family members of that little girl that you see in the center of the screen, of 13-year-old Delia Marie Young, in connection with her disappearance and her homicide. Homicide is intentional. That means somebody killed this girl. Okay? Now, authorities have arrested Delia's aunt by the name of Valerie Young, age 57, so there's clearly nothing young about her besides her name, in Levy County. And on May 27th, according to the sheriff's office spokesperson Kaylee Beal, and charged her with aggravated manslaughter, aggravated child abuse, evidence tampering, and depriving that girl, Delia Young, of medical care. Delia Young's guardian, Marion Williams, 52 years old. 57 and 52 years old. I wish somebody would try to tell me that these old dusty birds, oh, they're young. Maybe they didn't know no better. You shouldn't talk about the matriarch like that. You shouldn't talk about the black queens like that. I always find it funny when pro-blacks try to talk about casket ready. Y'all like that casket ready, huh? I want y'all to make sure if anybody ever says those words, casket ready, make sure to tell them y'all got that from DJ Just J. That was my stuff, casket ready. But they ain't got no makeup on, so we can't use that example on these old dusty birds right here, boy. Condor looking ass broads. Man. 57 and 52 years old. The 52-year-old is charged with aggravated manslaughter of a child, neglect of a child with great bodily harm, obstruction, and destruction of evidence. Sheriff's deputies arrested Williams on May 26th after she willingly traveled to the sheriff's office and confessed her involvement in Delia Young's disappearance. So that is on record. Hashtag not my words. On June 2nd, Alachua County Sheriff's deputies located this girl's remains. And so I want y'all to understand that for the longest time since this girl was missing, they were not able to find the girl's remains. They just found her remains on June 2nd in northwest Alachua County during a large-scale search operation, which you guys can see some of those pictures of these benevolent white people out here looking for your black children. I say those two things for this reason. First and foremost, I call them benevolent white people because we're always trying to talk about how the police and the government is bad and corrupt. But anytime we try to look for our damn kids, guess who it is out there in droves, searching forests, searching lakes, searching underground sewer lines or whatever the hell it is that they do, following leads, hundreds and hundreds of tips, it's not a bunch of us. There's usually people that share the skin tone of people who we call racist, and they keep their foot on our necks. It's real funny how that works when we need their help, when we want to use them and still talk crap about them. But we'll come back to that another time. For the second portion of that, I've said this, and I want y'all to remember this, especially those of you who are YouTubers. I want y'all to remember this. Remember that I said it first. Whenever these children go missing, whenever you have an Amber Alert come up, don't go too far out of your search. I'm going to say that again. Don't go too far out of your search. Think about all the children that have gone missing and they come out with these Amber Alerts. I think the most valuable place that you can look is usually right under your nose, like Toucan Sam, right under your nose. In this case, they were scouring that county, scouring that area, scouring the state, trying to find either this girl or this girl's body, her remains. And guess where she was? These old two dusty birds had this girl murdered and buried, and they knew exactly where they buried her. While they're wasting precious tax dollars and wasting precious volunteers' time out there looking for something that they already knew where she was. Wasted everybody's time. That should be a crime in itself. Why don't they ever charge them with restitution? Oops. Am I speaking too soon? Yeah, I think maybe y'all should get y'all taxpayer money back. Yeah, I do. Yep. I think if they waste $100,000 worth of manpower, they should also be charged that in restitution. They should have to pay back those tax dollars for all of that wasted time that those police officers, investigators, prosecutors go out there and spend and waste this time looking for kids where these creatures know where these children are. Okay? I want y'all to remember I said that first. According to Williams' arrest report, Valerie Young reported her niece missing on May 16th. At the time, Valerie Young told the Lucia County Sheriff's Office that the child had a history of running away and that she disappeared from their Northwest 142nd Avenue residence the previous night. There were several contradicting versions surrounding the disappearance of the child. On May the 19th, the Sheriff's Office posted a digital missing persons flyer to Facebook and Twitter in an appeal for the public to help locate the missing child. And that's where they found that baby. Look at those pictures. That is just heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. That was that girl's final resting place on earth. And her physical being, her physical body. But this is us doing this to us. Yep, and thank you, Chandra, for calling it out. You said just like with Summer Wells. I want y'all to remember this. They are currently looking for Summer Wells, hopefully to find that baby alive. Remember I told you, and that was actually the story I was referring to, among many others. When I say that you shouldn't look any further than your nose. Sometimes the evidence that you need is right under your nose, right at home. You can go scour anywhere and everywhere, but I think that a lot of times that the evidence is right there in front of you. Bookmark that. We'll come back to it another time. Williams told detectives that she witnessed Valerie Young beating the child with an electrical cord. How many black folks out there can attest to a story just like that? I got beat with an electrical cord. I got beat with a belt. I got beat with a shoe. I got beat with a racing car track. Oh, that's so funny. I did too. I got beat like that too. After intervening to stop the beating, Williams claimed Delia Young, the little girl, refused medical care. Sounds like bullcrap. Anyway, Williams stated that later in the evening, she observed the 13-year-old girl walking around the house in a manner consistent with her being injured, according to the arrest report. Williams said that the child went to her bedroom for the night and she last saw her on the floor using the computer in her room. The next morning, Williams told detectives she entered the 13-year-old girl's room and found her dead. The arrest report states William called Valerie Young to deliver the news, and the pair of them devised a plan to dispose of the girl's body. That baby. Williams told authorities that she and Valerie Young both believed the teenager's death resulted from the previous night's beating. According to detectives, Williams and Valerie Young utilized a tote bag to transport the 13-year-old girl's body to a secondary location owned by Williams off Northwest 47th Terrace in La Crosse. That is disgusting. Transporting this so-called missing girl's body. They're like, yeah, she's missing, while they're transporting her dead body. Don't y'all find that disgusting? Marion Williams says she later returned back to the residence upset at the loss of her child and sat in the room with the deceased child's body. That is disgusting. On the morning of May 18th, Williams told detectives she returned to the residence once again, only to find a pink tote bag outside and Delia's young body missing. At the time of her arrest, Williams claimed to have no knowledge of the whereabouts of the girl's remains. In addition to her official confession, the arrest report states that Williams also confessed aspects of the homicide to her mother. In that confession, Williams implicated herself in beating of the 13-year-old girl, reportedly telling her mother that they beat her unmercifully. The Allucci County Sheriff's Office say additional charges could be forthcoming. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's talk about these news videos. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Yeah, it's my honor to be able to share these stories and talk about them and really try to just bring about a change. So I really appreciate you guys' support so much, however you guys choose to support. Let's talk about this. Let's get it.
This morning, investigators are looking for a 13-year-old girl who disappeared from an Alachua County neighborhood a week ago. 13-year-old Delia Young hasn't been seen since last Friday. At the time, she was wearing blue pajamas and carrying a pink purse just north of Gainesville. Young is 4'2" and weighs about 75 pounds. Anyone who sees her is urged to call 911.
Here's the part that I want y'all to watch. This is a recording in court of one of these dusty birds crying in court. You know why she's crying? Not because she feels sorry for the 13-year-old girl. She's crying because she's selfish. She's crying because she only cares about the fact that she's going to be punished for her illicit deeds. Think about that for a moment. Watch this.
That was Marion Williams making her first court appearance. That was Marion Williams making her first court appearance today. She's being held on homicide and other charges in connection to the disappearance of her niece, 13-year-old Delia Young.
And now Valerie Young, another aunt, is behind bars held on those same charges. Delia was first reported missing Sunday, May 16th. And yesterday, Williams, who is the child's guardian, told Alachua County deputies that on Sunday, the 16th, Delia was severely beaten by Valerie Young. The next day, Williams claimed she found Delia dead, but did not report the death to deputies.
Do y'all want to hear my theory about why I believe that both of those women murdered this little girl? I have a theory. Remind me after these two videos and I'll tell y'all what my theory is. I think I know why they murdered her and why they were so mean to her.
On May 19th, the sheriff's office issued a missing child alert.
Then yesterday, Williams was scheduled to have an interview with TV20, but instead went to the sheriff's office to tell her story. She was then arrested. Today, Williams made first appearance in court, and Young was arrested.
Relatives close to the 13-year-old want her remains found to help bring closure to this case, but those suspected in her death say they don't know of her whereabouts.
And Marion Williams is revealing some information to Alachua County Sheriff's deputies, but there are some missing pieces. TV20's Dylan Lyons joins us now live in the studio. Dylan, what do we know about the investigation so far?
Well, both Williams and Young are facing identical charges of homicide, neglect with great bodily harm, obstruction, and tampering. Now, Williams is being held on a $900,000 bond. Young turned herself in today and is being held on a $2,650,000 bond until her first appearance tomorrow. Williams told TV20 deputies, that Young beat the 13-year-old with an electrical cord, and she noticed large marks on Delia. The report states Williams offered to take Delia to the hospital, but the little girl refused, and the step-grandmother of the young girl is just hoping the remains are found.
Where is she? If anybody knows anything, please come out. Please let the authorities know that this young lady is missing. This baby is missing. You know, I don't know what's going on, but God keeps speaking to me. And he keeps telling me she's gone.
Just hoping the remains are found.
Where is she? If anybody knows anything, please come out. Please let the authorities know that this young lady is missing. This baby is missing. You know, I don't know what's going on, but God keeps speaking to me. And he keeps telling me she's gone.
Well,
where is she? If anybody knows anything, please come out. Please let the authorities know that this young lady is missing. This baby is missing. You know, I don't know what's going on, but God keeps speaking to me.
Woosa. Woosa. God speaking to you? I don't know if that's God speaking to you or crack speaking to you. I don't know if that's God speaking to you or bedbug speaking to you. I'm sorry. Lord have mercy. I don't know what in the country bumpkins is going on.
And he keeps telling me she's gone.
Williams told deputies that Delia's body was moved from one home to another in a pink tote-type bag. She says the tote was destroyed, but Williams explains she does not know.
I'm sorry, relationship rehab. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person.
The whereabouts of Delia's remains, and we'll have more from that exclusive interview with the grandmother coming up tonight at 11 on TV 20. Dave, Paige.
JBTV 20, your local station.
Our top story tonight, an Alachua County grand jury has returned true bills indicting suspects in 3 separate murder cases.
The grand jury determined there was enough evidence to charge the sisters accused of killing 13-year-old Delia Young. Marion Williams and Valerie Young are now both indicted on charges of first-degree murder, child neglect, giving a false report, and resisting arrest. Delia was reported missing in May. Her body was found later discarded in a field. Williams, her guardian, was arrested after confessing to police that Delia was dead and then accusing her sister Valerie of beating the girl. No bond was issued.
All right, are you guys ready for my theory? For some of you who've been around my channel for 3 or 4 years, you are not going to be surprised by what I say. If this is your first time being on the channel, or if you haven't been here for very long, then you might be surprised about what I'm about to say. I have to credit what I'm about to say to a man who deserves more credit and respect than most of the world gives him. Tommy Sotomayor. Let me explain what I mean. Thank you, Miss June. I already knew what I was about to say. Miss June, I already knew what I was about to say. I want y'all to look at their faces. Matter of fact, do I have a side-by-side comparison? Yep, I do. I do. Want y'all to look at this and y'all tell me why these old dusty birds murdered that beautiful little 13-year-old girl. Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody have a hypothesis, a hypothesis as to why these old, decrepit, busted women who no man on earth would want to be with would abuse this beautiful, young, budding, beautiful 13-year-old girl? Jealousy. Thank you. You got it. You got it. This is something that Tommy has been talking about for the longest time, and he made me realize this with an old ex-girlfriend of mine who me and this girl are still friends to this day. And I remember her telling me a story. This girl had to move out of her mom's house when we were like, what, freshmen in high school? We were freshmen in high school. She moved out and got her own place to live. And she was working a job, I think, at Long John Silver's, and shout out to her, because she could not live with her mom because it was such a high level of toxicity. Tommy has talked about this for years, and I've watched him talk about how these women will have a young woman in the house, which is why it's good to have a man in the house to help offset some of this jealousy, which you could tell both of these dusty birds don't have no man. What man would want somebody busted and disgusted like this? Don't get in your feelings. Understand, we're talking about the logic of this. She was beautiful. She was young. She was up and coming. She's the belle of the ball. Yes? And what are those two women? What belle of what ball are they? What men do you think are inboxing those women? What suitable candidates, what high value men do you think are trying to get with those 57 and 52-year-old women? Why they look like they almost pushing 70? Any of them? Look at their living conditions. How proud do you think they are of themselves and how they look and what they have to speak for their lives? When they have all of this potential sitting right there in the middle of them, of somebody who is going to outbloom them, outshine them, be way better than them, would cause both of them, all that estrogen in the room, to be jealous. I think that they murdered her purely out of jealousy. They beat her out of jealousy. They could have even have done it for something as base as her skin color. How many of y'all thought about that? How many times, and we can speak on this because we're black folk, dark-skinned people abusing light-skinned blacks. Happens all the time. High yellow, try to snatch your hair out, beat you up, make you feel like crap because they know you're actually really pretty and probably a lot prettier than them, and know that you're going to have a hell of a lot more opportunities at the Prince of the Ball than they ever probably had in their entire life. Jealousy, envy, and insecurity. Retired Sergeant Melinda said it perfectly. Jealousy, envy, and insecurity, and they put that into that baby and murdered her. How about that for a motive? How about that for a motive? Does it make sense? Does it follow a level of logic? I could not speak that point without giving credit to the man that actually gave that point many, many years ago. And if you ask me, it seems to fit like a glove right here. That baby couldn't speak for herself. She could not defend herself against two women that are more than twice her size, 3 times her age, with a lot of hate and rage in their heart. And I want y'all to also remember my hashtag babies for benefits. They were not biological parents to this kid. So you would also have to ask, like the smart people in the chat asked, where are her biological parents? This girl should have never even been in this situation because the biological mother and biological father should have been there to raise this child in a nuclear family under one household. And they did not do that for whatever reason. We don't know what that story is, but their story and their failure is what caused this girl to end up being in these people's possession in the first place. We have to trace this back to the root cause. We're having children for all the wrong reasons, and for that, this girl suffered for absolutely no reason. She was 13 years old. She was almost big enough, strong enough, and old enough to be able to defend herself and get out there in the world and work for herself and make a living for herself. So close. And she just wasn't able to survive the last attack by these evil, evil women. And they both deserve life in prison plus some. But there's a special place in hell for both of these two idiots. And it's funny how they say that we should fear the government, we should fear the police, but it's always somebody that looks just like us, that shares our DNA, our skin tone, that ends up doing some of the most destructive, embarrassing, horrible things to us. This baby girl, same age as my daughter, deserved to grow up and become something great, and that was her final resting place. Look at that. You mean to tell me she didn't deserve anything better than that? That's the place where they found her. Got all these search teams out there looking for her. To this baby girl, young princess, you deserve so much better. Young Delia, young princess, R.I.P. DJ Just Jay, we're going to continue to keep speaking for what's right, man. We're going to stand on principle. From my heart to yours, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys on the next story, okay? Thank you.